Good morning. Thank you for being with us on THV 11, streaming on THV 11 Plus. I'm Karen Fuller. Hayden and Tracy are off this week. Meteorologist Nathan Scott filling in and joins us with a first check of the forecast today. Nathan, how's it going to be?
Hey, good morning, Karen. Yesterday, some of you may have needed the rain gear for a short amount of time, but today we're going to see more sunshine out there and much warmer temperatures. Right now, temperatures are into the upper 40s to lower 50s. It's 54 in Little Rock, 50 in Arkadelphia, 41, the cool spot for you folks in Clinton this morning. But watch what happens. We may start off the morning with some clouds, but expect more sunshine as the morning wears on, and the numbers will respond. Highs today into the low to mid 80s, so 20 degrees warmer than what we saw yesterday. And actually, that's going to get pretty close to the record high, the daily record high at Little Rock, which is 85 degrees. 90 is expected high in Fort Smith, close to 90 in Texarkana. So everybody across the state will see a big time warm up compared to what we experienced yesterday. These numbers continue to go up on Thursday. Record highs will be challenged across the state, but things do change and we will see a cool down going into the weekend. More on that cool down and maybe the potential of a little bit more rain as we go into Friday coming up. And here's a look at traffic. It's 1 minute after 6 o'clock. This is the Big Rock Interchange, Interstate 430, as it meets up with 630. And you can see it is moving very smoothly out there this morning. No surprise with spring break continuing here in the Natural State. Nothing going on, no accidents to report anywhere across Central Arkansas.
Early voting is now underway in Arkansas. Voters in Little Rock will decide who will represent State Senate District 15. And with no Republican in the race, the winner is expected to take the seat. THV 11's Tamer Knight joins us now with more details on the two candidates' campaigns. Good morning, Tamer.
Good morning, Karen. Day one of early voting is in the books in Little Rock, where voters are choosing between experience and a fresh perspective in a closely watched Democratic runoff. Polls opened yesterday for early voting in Arkansas State Senate District 15 runoff. On one side, State Representative Tara Shepard is campaigning on her record and focus on criminal justice reform and senior care. Shepard says she also wants to continue efforts to break the education to prison pipeline, expand job opportunities, and focus on the maternal health crisis.
There are things in which we can spend those dollars on to ensure that our elderly are taken care of, to ensure our children are being taken care of, to ensure that our moms, especially our pregnant moms, when you look at the maternal health crisis in Arkansas.
Her opponent, educator Charity Smith-Allen, says improving education is her top priority. Smith-Allen says she wants to invest more state funding into schools with the focus on early literacy.
To be sure that we give these funds to kids, because education is the #1 priority of this state, and a good, sound public education is what we say in law that we want for our kids, and it is so desperately needed.
Both candidates can agree more needs to be done to support Arkansas's elderly population. Now, Election Day for the runoff is set for next Tuesday, March 31st. I'm Tamer Knight reporting for THV 11 News.
All right, Tamer, thank you. We do have some sad news to pass along this morning. Arkansas State Representative Stan Berry has died at the age of 71. Berry represented District 44, covering communities north and east of Russellville, including Dover, Hector, and Atkins. He was serving his 7th term in the Arkansas House. His passing leaves the district without representation just weeks before the fiscal session begins. Under state law, Governor Sanders cannot appoint a temporary replacement and instead must call a special election within 150 days unless she determines that timeline is not practical. That timeline could then stretch beyond the session, meaning District 44 may not have a voice during key votes on the state budget and taxes. Also developing this morning, hundreds of U.S. troops are preparing to deploy to the Middle East as the fighting between Israel and Iran enters its fourth week. Missile strikes lit up the skies over the West Bank overnight, even as President Trump says negotiations are happening behind the scenes. Some questions, though, remain about how serious those talks really are and whether a larger military response could be coming. White House correspondent Mark Caputo said there may be communication happening, but not much progress so far.
There are mediators, other countries that are carrying messages in between the two. We think there's been some contact, some direct contact, but it hasn't been very significant.
And this comes as the Senate once again failed to pass a measure to limit the war effort, largely along party lines. The House is not expected to vote on a war powers resolution anytime soon. Higher tax refunds are reaching Americans this year, but rising costs tied to the war with Iran could quickly eat into that extra money. New IRS data shows the average refund is up nearly 11% compared to last year. At the same time, gas prices are surging nationwide after disruptions to the global oil supply, driving up costs for travel, shipping, and everyday goods. Analysts warn those higher prices could stick around for months, even after the conflict eases. The nearly 6-week partial government shutdown is creating new headaches for air travelers and for TSA officers who are still working without pay. Senate Republicans are now pushing to plan to fund most of the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees TSA, but Democratic leaders say the proposal falls short, especially when it comes to ICE policy changes. CBS News correspondent Jared Hill has the latest.
Another day of flight frustration at Houston's airport.
It's been slow.
The Freeman family got here 7.5 hours before their return to Denver.
If we don't, we might not make it, and then we're here again. And at that point, we talked about just renting a car and driving.
In Atlanta, Dalton Orr ditched the flight for another route altogether.
It was $150 to get on this bus. This is all, I'm riding the buses every time I get on. Any traveling, it's a bus.
The Trump administration has sent ICE officers to airports around the country to help direct crowds. As security lines swell, patience with Washington is wearing thin, with TSA workers facing another missed paycheck on Friday.
It seemed a little unfair, and with the Congress people getting paid and they're not coming to an agreement, it's like, what is going on? You're kind of messing with people's livelihoods.
Tuesday, Senate Republicans offered up a proposal to end the 5-week-long shutdown, funding every part of the Department of Homeland Security except for ICE's enforcement and removal operations.
It is time to end this.
Senate Democrats rejected the deal, saying they'll propose their own.
We need strong reforms, and we need to rein in ICE.
President Trump generally unenthusiastic.
I think any deal they make, I'm pretty much not happy with it.
His new Homeland Security Secretary sworn in as the department sits at the center of turmoil. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Several airlines, including Allegiant, Delta, and United, are now waiving change fees and fare differences for travelers affected by the shutdown. At the same time, Delta says it is ending special travel privileges for members of Congress until the shutdown is resolved. Northwest Arkansas National Airport is rolling out major incentives to attract new nonstop flights. Airport leaders are targeting 9 cities, including San Francisco, Seattle, Boston, and Austin at the top of the list. Airlines can receive up to $280,000 in marketing support and waived landing fees to help launch the new routes. Officials say the push is aimed at expanding service and boosting economic growth across the region. Let's talk weather now with meteorologist Nathan Scott and the forecast on this Wednesday. Nathan?
Karen, it has been a March meltdown here in Arkansas. In fact, I looked at some new statistics. If March were to end today, it would be the 5th hottest March on record when you look at the average temperatures. And we may climb up into that leaderboard just because we've got record highs on the table out there today. Once again, 85 is the expected high. 85 is the daily record high at Little Rock. I think they'll shatter records over West Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas. We'll see a mixture of sun and clouds. It's going to feel like June out there. Even warmer on Thursday. but changes do move in here to close out the work week and head into the weekend. I'll let you know what those changes are and if there's any significant rainfall expected over the next 7 days. Coming up. The time now is 9 minutes after 6 o'clock, and we are looking live here. I Drive Arkansas. This is near the outlets of Little Rock, the interchange of 430 and also 30, which is usually congested when you look at a typical morning on Wednesday, but traffic is moving very smoothly in this part of Central Arkansas, and that continues to be the case all across Central Arkansas. Still, no accidents to report at this time.